Yo, what is up, Kings? I hope all is well. Today, I want to briefly discuss this Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson situation. By the way, guys, yes, I got a little sun yesterday. I got that Spaniard blood, so I'm red for like a day, and then it goes away. You can see with my big fat neck, I got some red there. But I digress. So, I just want to get my personal thoughts on, I don't know, the morality, whether I'm okay with a 70-plus-year-old man dating a 24-year-old girl, or, hypothetically, vice versa. I don't give a fuck. Okay, they are adults. She's old enough to fucking vote. If it was reversed, he would be old enough to fucking vote. The only reason, well, before I get to any of that, again, I don't care, okay? And I'm going to list why I don't care. The only reason why this is a story to begin with is because of the gynocentric society that we live in. And the only reason why that has prevailed is because old, wrinkled, and ugly feminists, in an attempt to break down the nuclear family, what they have to do is shame younger, attractive women who are more likely to get married and have children. They have to shame them for their often tendency to marry an older man or be with an older man. Because if they're able to do that, then these younger girls will feel ashamed, because women are very malleable to shame. They will feel, especially social shame, they will feel ashamed. They won't date older men. They'll date younger men. Younger men tend to not be as reliable. They don't have these next few things, which I'm about to list, which is, of course, that women find attractive: resources, clout, notoriety, prominence, popularity, respect, being admired from men. What do all of those things have in common? Older men tend to have those things. Okay? So, I look around and, at first when I saw these videos popping up on my YouTube feed, I'm like, do I really want to make a video on this? Because it's such a non-story to me, and I don't want to encourage this bullshit gynocentric society where women at every turn are not held accountable, are not they are given scapegoats for every little thing they do. Because any person who's being honest, if they really have an issue with this, they should have just as much an issue with Jordan as they would with Bill. I feel so fucking lame talking about this, but given the things I discuss on my channel, I think this is a good video. But the reason why they would say that they don't is because she is younger, therefore Bill has the power in the relationship, therefore she is the victim. When it is absolutely absurd to think that a young, beautiful woman does not have a ton of power. Because when you look at it through the lens that I just stated, you're looking at it one-sided. You're looking at it from the power dynamics of what men have, and only men. Men gain power through notoriety, money, resources, prestige, respect, which usually comes with age. Women do not. Women are at their peak when they are their most attractive. That is when they have the most power. So, to me, I view it on equal playing field, if not more so, that she is the one taking advantage of Bill rather than vice versa. Because me being red-pilled as I am, I know the real power that she holds and wields. And we know this because we can see the most recent videos, the people call it a tantrum, the outburst that she had in an interview. She was being interviewed by this guy. This guy was asking about their relationship. And in the interview, they say that she was very, her proximity to the interview was close at all times. She was hovering. And finally, when Bill sits down to answer some questions, one of the questions that the interviewer asked was, how did you guys meet? Or where did you guys meet? And she interjects from the back in like a menacing, crazy look. Honestly, it was a crazy look. We're not talking about this. Which again, all of this is, I think there's a good chance that all of this is orchestrated. It's all manipulated, whether it's from the news companies, whether it's from Jordan herself. I don't fucking know. But these people know what they're doing. And if you think for a second that these types of tactics are not deployed in order to gain more attention and eyeballs on the situation, you're sadly mistaken. Okay, we live in a day and age where everything is done for eyeballs and attention. So that's one example. Okay, another example, we see her walking on the fields at Bill Belichick's practices. She's walking all over the place, and this is going to come back to bite him. Mark my words. I think there's a good chance that she will monkey branch because women are hypergamous. I know Jay Dyer's wife would disagree, but I still got to do the video on that, by the way. I think there's a good chance that because she has been granted this access, this intimate access to football circles, sports circles, top tier athletes, top tier, men that are making good money or will make good money. I think there's a good chance that she monkey branches and hitches her wagon to somebody else. But Bill would have a better chance if he had some fucking balls and set boundaries and said, no, you're not fucking coming on my field. You are not coming on my football field. But here's the thing, guys, is we've seen this time and time again. A lot of boomer men are not red-pilled, okay? A lot of boomer men, even though they might have come from a more like traditional era, possibly. I would need to see when Bill Belichick was born, where women are in the home, women are to stay quiet, yada yada yada. They also simultaneously have this mindset that women are to be pedestalized, women are the fairer sex. In a lot of regards, I agree. When they have boundaries that they are checked within. If they don't have those boundaries, women's nature kicks in and they go fucking crazy. So, but I only say that to say that if he had the courage to do that, I think he'd have a better chance of holding on to the relationship. But I don't think that that's going to happen because boomer men tend to pedestalize women, and everything I've seen from him are telltale signs of what boomer men do, which is, they might be super hard workers. They might work, 50, 60 hours a week. They might make good money. But when it comes to the domicile, the home, the relationship, the nest, they get fucking moved around on their nose like a horse, like a puppy dog, like they don't know what to do. They can't take care of themselves. And personally, I can't stand this. This is one thing that I think the whole men are protectors, providers, which I agree with. And women are, the mothers, the nurturing, nurturers, the nest builders. If you take it too far, I've seen time and time again, men get way too comfortable. They get lazy, and they stop doing stuff for themselves outside of work. And essentially all they become are worker bees that really within the relationship, all they are a paycheck. They're just a paycheck. They go to work, they work hard, they might even earn a good amount of money, but everything outside of work, the woman is literally doing everything. And he is being led around like a dumb dog that doesn't know any better. I can't stand that. So, but again, I'm not surprised by that, but his relationship would have at least a slightly better chance given the financials that he has if he did that. I also think he'd have a better chance if he didn't look like a fucking pear. But, when it comes to male-female attraction, it's not the end-all be-all. But if women do have multiple attraction points. But the thing is, even though women do have multiple attraction points, and it's even more spread out when you think about women as a whole rather than like individual women, still, by and large, when it comes to pure desire, the number one thing, which is the same as men, maybe not to the same degree, that gets women going, are physical traits. But the thing is Bill is 72 years old. I'm not sure he's ever going to look super good again, so maybe it's not even worth trying, because even if he did spend a lot of time in the gym, he's lost a lot of testosterone, it may not even happen. But but I mean, there's a difference between looking like a fucking pear and just, being a skinny old guy. Literally Bill Belichick has fucking bitch tits. So, but outside of that, to nail down some critiques, even though I don't care about the age difference from a moral perspective, and I completely and utterly understand it. Any of you who don't are totally manipulated and propagandized. This is not rocket science, okay? Men, whatever age they are, like young women, young hot women, they find attractive. And women are at their peak between probably the ages of 18 to 25, maybe 18 to 27, okay? Physically, I'd say 18, maybe probably 19 to 27, because some 18-year-olds still, girls still do look kind of young, but some of them also, because women do tend to mature quicker, look much older, even before they turn 18. So, but generally speaking, and just to keep this, clean, crisp, and concise, women are their most attractive 19 to 25, maybe 19 to 27. I think 27 is pushing it. Personally, I'd go 19 to 24 for me personally. But, just for general purposes, 19 to 25, maybe 27. Women find and are looking for, especially when it comes to long-term relationships, financials, resources, respect, admiration, clout, popularity. Those are the things that they're looking for. And what type of men tend to have those things? Older men. Because men accumulate status, wealth, resources with time. Not all. Some men are very lucky and earn these things at a young age, but by and large, that is the case. So here's my critique. I think that, and I don't really hear this a lot in the red pill space, and I think it needs to be discussed more. So I do hear in the red pill space and in kind of just, the dating sphere, the manosphere, that, women are at their peak as far as power goes when they are young and hot and beautiful women. Therefore, as far as the power dynamics go, if anything, it might be them taking advantage of the older man. I've heard that. That's all well and good. But what I don't hear a lot, in this day and age where we see capitalism and morality run amok, and there are no boundaries set any longer, and we live in this degenerate society, and you see things like OnlyStans, where what you're seeing is these systems that are being created by men, mind you. Some of them happen to be a part of that tribe, but by men, mind you, that are essentially allowing women to be transferred money and the things that they are looking for from men without them having to do the girlfriend or namely wifely duties. And what do I mean by that? Of course, I mean sleeping with the man, fulfilling him sexually and giving him comfort and release with those things. But of course, all the other things that a feminine leaning towards traditional woman, well, just to keep it concise, a legitimately feminine woman would do. Nurturing, caring. She supports her man. She's submissive. She nurses him through his defeats and encourages him when he has a goal or something else that he's trying to achieve. And rarely, seldom contradicts, if ever contradicts, and questions some of these things. I'm not saying not never. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting forth some thoughts, but there's a difference, a whole big difference, whole mountain of difference between the average modern woman who does it on every little fucking thing as a battle, and maybe one or two things a year that are major things where your woman, because she cares about you and truly loves you, is just looking out for your best interest. There's a big difference. And so on top of that, you get that with OnlyStans, where these women are being transferred men's wealth without having to do wifely things. And they kind of get to do this virtual fake faux sex, either with themselves, or they get to do it real with a Chad, while also getting the beta bucks from the Stan through OnlyFans. And so it's kind of like a win-win. They get to live this luxurious lifestyle that, generally speaking, they'd be looking for a man to provide, but they would normally have to be the girlfriend or wife of to get those things. Or you're seeing this happen a lot with relationships with, like, Bill Belichick and Jordan, whatever the fuck her name is, Hudson, sorry, where they go after these like 80, 72-year-old men when they know that this man, especially with money, this is done when that 60 plus year old man has money. When they know that this man is not going to have a very high sex drive, so they're probably not going to have to sleep with him very often. If ever, honestly, because he's not going to have the fucking backbone to make it happen. Lord knows women can be stingy with that, especially if they don't have that pure desire. And they know that this man is going to be able to provide them with all these resources, this luxurious lifestyle, without really having to fulfill normal wife duties that they would like a normal, 25 to 40-year-old man, building up with him. Do you really think that she cooks and cleans and, takes care of the house? No. We know this because what do we see her doing instead? Trying to get on the football field, trying to impede on his shit. Her ego's kicking in and she's trying to impede on his shit. Trying to be as, boss babe as he is, fucking kingly in his realm, his sphere. We see her trying to do the social media stuff, and at every turn she is trying to say, I am woman, hear me roar, I'm super good at this, look at how good I am at this, left, right, and center. She is trying to get the same amount of attention, if not more, for her skill as Bill Belichick. So we know that she's likely not doing these duties. Even if she wasn't, most people would gather that she's not doing these motherly, wifely, normal female duties. And so what I'm getting at is women in this modern era are constantly finding ways to beat the system. And they are constantly, because they are totally untethered, totally left unchecked, they are constantly looking for ways that they can get the benefits that a man provides without having to provide normal female duties. And we see this all the time. And so that would be my one major critique of this is like, I don't think that is healthy for a society. I don't think that it's healthy for women to, by and large, believe that they can just find this rich old dilettante to give them this lifestyle. Meanwhile, they're likely not going to have kids. They're likely not going to have sex with the guy very often. They're likely not going to have to cook and clean. They basically are just eye candy. They're just there to look good and occasionally give the mid-level blowy, and that's it. And again, this is the problem with modernity and modern women, is modern women have been able to escape their duties to society. They've been able to escape their gender norms, and it's very fluid. I don't mean in like the transgender way. I mean like, when they want to, they can try and act masculine. When they want to, they can, when it benefits them, they can try and act feminine and adhere to their duties or not adhere to them. And so this is yet another way in which they're able to do that. And that is my critique of the one critique of the major age difference, especially when it comes to an older man versus an older woman and women. And again, the average person wouldn't even think of this because they're so propagandized. This is like, from Bill Belichick's perspective, and yes, I can hold him accountable a little bit, for this. But on a certain level, number one, I don't know what happened with his marriage. There's probably a good chance that woman left him, if I had to guess, because men usually don't leave women. But, he put in his time. He had his kids. He had a lot of kids. I understand from his perspective, wanting to, just have a young hot chick to keep him company. He's lived more years than he's got left. And to help him feel like a man. He's in a very masculine, I don't know, career field, or vocation, being around, 6'4", largely black linebackers. Well, I don't know if obviously all of them aren't black linebackers, but a lot of them are predominantly black men. But either way, they're fucking huge. They're athletic. They're big, strong, fast. They're stallions. They're fucking lions out there. So I can see why, from his perspective, he would feel the need to do that. I can understand it. So just closing thoughts as we approach, we're over the 25-minute mark here. All of this is just classic modern woman bullshit. Her trying to impede on his space. Modern women do this all the time. And this is why when feminists say that, women are just as capable as men and yada, 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 it's such bullshit, okay? The wealthiest women in the world, wealthiest, I think top 10 or whatever list of women in the world, are all that wealthy because they divorced the wealthiest men in the world, okay? And they got it through divorce. Women, when you do not have boundaries as a man and you don't hold frame as a man, they will impede on your space. Why? Because they want attention. And why? Women are very egotistical. So if you're a man, yes, they find attractive that you have prominence, resources, and popularity. It's a double-edged sword because simultaneously they are going to constantly be trying to be given access to these things because their ego is so big. They're going to try and prove to the world that they're a strong, independent boss babe that can do this and they have a bunch of talent, this and that. And of course, who wouldn't want access and attention? That's the biggest thing, is they want attention. What woman wouldn't want this sort of attention every day, having articles written about you and your relationship, and you stepped onto the North Carolina football field, you said this in an interview. Again, if you don't set boundaries, women will always try and do that. And it also has to do with, just in general, women need men more than men need women. So women are constantly trying to be around men to get the utility of being around men and the benefits of being around men. That is why she is pushing the envelope to invade his spaces. And this is usual. Women do this all the time. This is why you see at the gym, women working out with their boyfriends. This is why, you have girls, like when it's a guy's night out, somehow fucking Becky showed up to a guy's night out at the bar. She's trying to intervene, especially when it comes to vocations. I hate to say it, but for example, Jay Dyer's wife, she's jumping in the content creation space, and I'm not like against that totally and completely. I'm just saying, within reason, as a man, you need to set boundaries, and you need to ask yourself, is this being done for the right reasons? I think in the case of, Jay Dyer and Andrew Wilson, and their wives, it probably is being done for the right reasons. This situation where it's football, she's never played football, she's never been in this space, her trying to impede and implant herself in this world is ridiculous. She could care less about football or anything like that, but she wants all the benefits. So just keep that in mind, men. When you are thinking of becoming a husband or being a boyfriend, women, their nature is to love being around men. Women love masculinity. But on top of that, they like what comes with it and the utility that comes with it. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I have. If I decide to talk about it more, I'll make a part 2. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment. Y'all know the drill. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts your feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you, King. See you guys next time. Christ is King. Peace.